Just about ready to start here. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the New Media Production Studio. The lead stories start off with CNET's AI journalist appears to have committed extensive plagiarism. The United States certifies the first small modular nuclear reactor, making it the 7th design to be certified. Popular TV streaming service US TV Go shuts down without warning. A ChatGPT bot passed a Wharton Business School business exam. I want to welcome you to episode 1645 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, January 23rd. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a Geek News Central Insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the brand new listeners of the show. Make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. When you're on the website, follow or subscribe to the podcast via the icons on the right-hand side of the website. Sign up for the newsletter a little bit further down the page. That'll get you connected. Make sure that you never miss a single episode of the Geek News Central podcast by receiving all of the show notes that I talk about, or all the notes and all the links to everything I talk about during the show. We want to thank you for doing that. Of course, you can join our chat room. Our chat room is available via geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server. You can just request an account. Say, hey, I'm a fan of the show. I listened to episode 1645, and I want my invite. I want to be turned on. Please do that if you want to be on our Mastodon server, geeknews.chat. Of course, you can join our Discord channel as well. That link is in the show notes. Or if you're really cool, you can request to be part of the Slack community. And really, anyone can apply to be on any one of those. Of course, you can always reach out via email, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or at geeknews on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Follow me by searching for my name, Todd Cochran. All the partner shows are linked to geeknewscentral.com as well. That includes the New Media Show, includes the Gadget Professor, Mr. Don Bain, the GNC Week in Review with Kirk and Scott. Definitely check out all the shows at Geek News Central, all the partner shows. Great way to stay in touch with all the different podcasts here. Of course, this show is sponsored by the longest running continuous sponsor of podcasts. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. You can save big when you use one of my promo codes. GoDaddy promo codes have been in existence here at Geek News Central since June of 2005. Of course, they've changed from time to time throughout the years. But more importantly, you can save up to 30%, yes, 30% on new product purchases at GoDaddy by using my promo codes. Or $4.99.com for brand new customers, transferring one in, or just picking up a new domain name. Again, new customers only. Or $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year. $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain name. Or $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year, again with a free domain. So again, $1.99 a month, $2.99 a month for economy or managed WordPress hosting for the first year. Both of those offers come with a free domain name. And the best part about this is all you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy to grab one of these. You can get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. Definitely check out all my promo codes. Again, get over there and use one. If you don't need a hosting account, if you don't need a domain, if you don't need an add-on service, a friend of you surely does. With all the layoffs going in the marketplace right now, make sure that you get yourself set up so that you are all set when things go crazy. This is a great way for you to really set yourself up with a new business, new online website, maybe a podcast. Really, it goes the full gambit here. Pick up that managed WordPress hosting site add the PowerPress plugin that my company does, and boom, instantly you'll be ready to be a podcaster. Definitely check out all these offers. Again, at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor of the show here. Save an average of 94% on purchases of GoDaddy hosting accounts, or an average of $3.50 per GoDaddy domain name. Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thanks, GoDaddy, for the sponsorship, of course. And it's off to a little bit of a crazy week. Well, it started with a long weekend because I was asked, and I've rolled over my cord here. I was asked late last week to put on a new presentation at Podfest. And that's down in Orlando starting on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday. And asked to present down there on Podcasting 2.0. So I have not done a presentation on Podcasting 2.0. I was already doing a keynote on value for value, but so I added this presentation. So I was working on both of the presentations most of the weekend. And then I started hearing about this potential snowstorm that's going to be hitting here Wednesday, which they say 4 to 9 inches of snow. And I'm supposed to fly out to Orlando on Wednesday. So went over to United and looked if they had any change fees, and they'd already waived change fees for my flight. And so now I'm leaving tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon versus leaving Wednesday morning. Get out of, hopefully, knock on wood, get out of here and beat the storm. And I don't normally like taking flights late in the afternoon from any airline, but there's one additional flight potentially to get out if things go crazy. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm going to get down to Orlando early tomorrow night and be able to be there for my multiple presentations and so forth. But I definitely watched this weekend some of the series Godfather of Harlem. It's an MGM series. Man, it's really, really, really good. Binge watch all of season 1. And so it was kind of that type of a weekend. But if you're not using a new podcast app from newpodcastapps.com, you're missing out on all the fun. You really, really are. We've got the ability here now for you to support this show in a way that's never been possible before. You can donate $1. It costs you a penny to deliver it. And they've got new ways to fund your wallet, to be able to send Satoshis to this show. Very uncomplicated now. They've improved that process, not only over at GetAlby, but also on the Fountain app. So definitely go over and check out new podcast apps and pick up a new podcasting app and be one of the cool kids. I do want to thank some of the boosts that come in. Got 50,000 sats from Boosting for Lit, even though I'm listening later. That was Adam. Got a 10,000 sat boost. This was during the new media show. It just goes on and on. Then a bunch of you have been actually streaming live, sending sats by the minute, which has been very, very cool. Papa HD, you're still pretty much on the leaderboard here. For streaming sats per minute, which has been cool. But really the ability here to see the number of contributors, the top shows that you're boosting. Podverse is right now the top income stream, followed by Fountain, Castamatic, or CuriouCaster. Again, lots of boosts coming in. Total of 1,926 total payments, or 933,940 sats have been received so far. And with the price of Bitcoin going up, it's all of a sudden my sats now are becoming much, much higher value, which is very, very cool. But anyway, that's beside the point. Go over to newpodcastapps.com, pick up a new podcasting app. All right, let's get into the stack of stuff. And let me start off with this article over at Futurism. And Kirk, I don't know where you found this article, but it's a good one. It's talking about how CNET's AI journalist appears to have committed extensive plagiarism. CNET's AI written articles aren't just riddled with errors, they also appear to be substantially plagiarized. And they went through and found, and the thing is, here's the thing. I was looking at the examples, and I just thought this was interesting. It said, like, one of them was how to avoid overdraft and NSF fees. The bot said overdraft fees and NSF fees don't have to be a common consequence. There are a few steps you can take to avoid them. An article that was written on Forbes says, answering the same question, overdraft and NSF fees not need be the norm. There are several tools at your disposal to avoid them. So a little bit of a rewording, but to me, the Forbes advisor article sounds more natural. They say, sure, the bot's version altered the capitalization, swapped out a few words, from impressively lateral minded synonyms. The norm becomes a common consequence, for instance, and several tools becomes few steps, along with a few minor changes, but apart from the semantic tweaks, the two sentences are nearly identical. And so, again, they give a whole bunch of examples, and they're not exact. They're not word for word. But it's curious that it's run home to mama. And here's the problem with some of this. If it is going out and finding information that's been put on the web and then rewording it, then is the original content, this thing is learning off of data that's been published. So junk in, junk out doesn't mean that it's picking up stuff from trusted sources unless they're whitelisting certain sites to get their information from. So this is an interesting documentation of, CNET is a site that we cite quite a bit. And if their articles are being written by an AI, it makes you go, just a little bit. But it's pretty extensive what they've done here. This is probably about a 10-minute read of all the different examples out there. So it makes you wonder just a little bit here. Where are these things getting their knowledge? And it's basically stuff that's on the web already. That's where they're getting their knowledge. More interesting, a ChatGPT bot passed a Wharton Business School exam, but the professor said he would only graded the effort a B or B minus. He said he found the ChatGPT could answer basic questions well, but sometimes made surprising mistakes in simple calculations. And for example, this is a pretty good answer. Now listen to this. The professor proposed the following question to ChatGPT. World Antique is a new venture under development by two graduates of a New England business school. The value proposition of the venture is simple. Purchase antique paintings at yard sales and auctions and then sell them at quadruple the purchase price via a simple e-commerce site, i.e., a painting that's purchased for $100 would be sold at $400. Based on analysis of similar retailers, the founders expect to turn their inventory 1.5 times per year. To achieve an annual revenue of $3 million, how much inventory expressed in S, or in dollar sign, should the founder expect the operation to require? So, I would probably take a little while to answer this. I'd have to go through and do a little math, do a little thinking. It's a word problem, right? See, it's not something that's going to be that difficult to figure out. So the ChatGPT said to achieve an annual revenue of $3 million, the founders would need to sell $3 million divided by 4, which equals $750,000 worth of paintings per year. Since they expect to turn their inventory 1.5 times per year, they need to have $750,000 divided by 1.5 equals $500,000 worth of inventory at any given time. Therefore, the founders should expect their operation to require $500,000 worth of inventory. The professor said this is short and sweet and worthy of an A+. But in other instances, the chat GPT made mistakes in calculations and said only required 6th grade level math. He noted that it has also struggled with more complex questions that require an understanding of how multiple inputs and outputs work together. But when given a hint to questions, the chat GPT quickly and correctly modified its answers. Based on that, the professor knows that having a human in the loop could be very valuable. Since GPT's been known for generating novel content, he also decided how well it could do his job, writing its own exam question. The question it generated would probably require substantial editing, he noted, but he also found them humorous and said he'd rely on ChatGPT for preparing future exams. Whoa. He wrote, we have many reasons to believe that technology is getting better over time. We are still far from an A+ for complex problems, and we still need a human in the loop. But if it just spit out that answer that quick, that's pretty impressive if you ask me. So where do we go from here, ladies and gentlemen? That is the question that we all need to wonder where we're headed. I've got a good article today about some legislation that's being considered or should be considered being where we are at the moment. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has certified the design for the country's first ever small modular nuclear reactor. In the Federal Register on Thursday, the NRC established a rule allowing the so-called new scale reactor to be used within the United States beginning on February 21st, 2023. The rule paves the way for companies to construct reactors that require less space and labor than conventional counterparts. So it's capable in its current design of generating 160 megawatts of thermal output and 50 megawatts of electrical output. 50 megawatts is considerable. The lower portion of each power module is submerged in a below-ground pool that functions as a heat sink, thus precluding the need for emergency diesel generators for power outages or water injectors to cool the reactor after an accident. The new scale reactor is the 7th nuclear reactor designed to achieve certification in the United States. The others are all considered conventional nuclear reactors. SMRs are significantly smaller than their conventional predecessors, making them more suitable for geographic locations in which large nuclear plants would not be possible. Their size also translates to easier construction and lower upfront costs, which their modular design allows them to be deployed incrementally as energy demands fluctuates. So this is exciting stuff. We have a new nuclear reactor at 50 megawatts. This thing is not that big. It is relatively small from if you think about it, they got a picture of it here. It's smaller than what would be where a traditional water tower would go. And to be able to put out 50 megawatts, that's pretty impressive, to say the least. So, again, link will be in the show notes. You can check this out. I think nuclear's the way, to go. We've got plenty of place to store nuclear waste. It's a big country with a lot of open spaces in it to be able to do that safely. Popular TV streaming service US TV Go shuts down. They appear to shut down with a message that says, sorry, we are closed, leaving million users with plenty of unanswered questions. Well, the reasons for the sudden decision unknown. Well, they've been on the radar of anti-privacy outfits already. So the portal focused on U.S. channels, making it a popular site for cord-cutting Americans or those living abroad. And I've been overseas and seen some of these type of sites work on television networks. But U.S. TV Go is definitely a go-to for the United States. But, there's lots of alternatives here. It lists an article, 123 TV Now, 123 TV, TV 247, and others that will allow you to, they just restream television. So, but they, they have some television there you might be surprised with. So I'll just leave it at that. A lot of these things are out there. Google Sundar Pichai has told staff cuts avoided much worse issues. Of course, they cut 6%. And this is not the first time. Of course, Google said Friday, eliminate 12,000 jobs, become the latest tech giant to retrench after years of abundant growth. Although speculation about the cuts has swirled for months, the layoffs were nonetheless a shock to the system for some employees. Some realized they lost their jobs when they were unable to access corporate systems. He stressed the cuts were the product of careful consideration. He said the process was far from random. He said the size of Google's workforce forced executives to keep the circle of decision makers relatively small. In an ideal world, we would give managers a heads up, but we have over 30,000 managers at Google. That sounds like a problem in itself. We wanted to give certainty sooner. Another exec said severance packages have been structured to reward workers with long tenures at the company. They stressed in meetings that the cuts were intended to free the company up to continue investing in key priorities. AI. So, big cut at Google. This is big tech cuts all over the place. Meanwhile, Apple Pay is getting the attention of MasterCard and folks like that. The big banks that bought you Zelle are building a new digital wallet. The Wall Street Journal reports customers can use it by typing in their email address. Once they've logged in, it will pull up eligible cards to use for payments as alternatives to payment setups from Apple Pay and PayPal. Banks like Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase are joining forces to launch their own digital payment wallet that can be used for online shopping, according to the Wall Street Journal. The planned new wallet is a response to Apple Pay, PayPal, and others, including Google Pay and Amazon Pay. The currently nameless wallet will be handled by Early Warning Services, the company behind the direct money transfer service Zelle, though the two products will probably not intersect. So we'll see what this is going to happen here. I guess it's still in work. But Apple Pay is taking a lot of transactions away, for sure. Congressman calls for a federal Department of AI to prevent Skynet. Imagine if Aaron Sorkin wrote Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Representative Ted Lieu, Democrat of California, authored an opinion piece in the New York Times on Monday, arguing that AI has emerged as a powerful tool that can be used to benefit humanity or deceive it. And worse, in fact, the example he cited, reproduced above, wasn't written by Lieu, but by ChatGPT, the AI chatbot developed by OpenAI. Of course, OpenAI received a multi-billion-dollar investment from Microsoft as well. Amid reports is unveiling a paid version, which I saw the pricing on this weekend, which was $47 or something like that. Lieu, who earned a BS in computer science from Stanford, know that AI is now present in everything from smart speakers to Google Maps, but where AI fails, people can be hurt. The editor points out that a driver blamed Tesla's self-driving mode for an 8-car pileup on the San Francisco Bay Bridge. According to Lieu, Congress is simply incapable of passing legislation that can regulate AI. He says the tech moves too fast. And legislators lack knowledge to set laws and guidelines. Instead, what we need is a dedicated agency to regulate AI. An agency is nimbler than the legislative process, is staffed with experts, and can reverse its decisions if it makes an error. Creating such an agency will be difficult and huge undertaking because AI is complicated and not well understood. Lieu cited other agencies such as the FDA as evidence that the government could still regulate a new emerging technology, but he said the process could not happen overnight. Instead, Lieu said he would recommend the formation of a nonpartisan AI commission to provide recommendations on how such a federal agency could be formed. So we'll see about this. Won't be long. We're going to be in trouble. The FDA has cleared Wandercraft's exoskeleton for stroke patients. So Atlante could help patients recover the ability to walk. Stroke patients in the U.S. are soon to be able to take advantage of this cutting-edge robotics. So this Atlante exoskeleton for use in stroke rehabilitation. The machine can help with intensive gait training, in particular people with limited upper body mobility that might prevent using other methods. The current generation Atlante is a self-balancing battery-powered device with an adjustable gait that can help with early steps due to more natural walking later in therapy. So while the hardware still needs to be used in a clinical setting with help from a therapist, it's hands-free use, lets patients reestablish their gait whether or not they can use their arms. You hear a lot of companies say that, oh, we honor privacy, we anonymize your data, or we pseudonymize your data. Rando pseudonymize your data. What does it all mean? Well, the folks over at makeuseof.com have a great article that you can review and go into all these terms that people talk about. What is anonymous data? What is pseudonymous data? And of course, anonymous and pseudonymous data, according to the GDPR. There's all kinds of information. They talk about how to anonymize data, noise addition, aggregation, data encryption, tokenation, data masking. A lot of varieties of ways to anonymize or pseudonymize data. Link will be in the show notes for you to check out. Have you heard about U.com? U.com, I missed this. U.com AI-infused Google rival provides a tantalizing glimpse of the future. If you want to know what Google or Bing could be like with AI capabilities and without the ads, U.com could be the answer. So I loaded U.com up. And I asked it I'm going to ask it for the first time. Who is Todd Cochran? And we'll see what we get. The first thing is the state of podcasting. Never News Listening. Todd Cochran about Geek News Central. Found my LinkedIn profile. Talked about my Hall of Fame. And shows my actual Todd Cochran YouTube channel. Talks about the other Todd Cochran that's out there in Kansas, the professor. Some other Cochran that has a Wikipedia page. I don't, and it even found my Todd blog that I haven't posted to in years. And let's see here. If I chat with it, what does it do? Todd Cochran is a podcast media company CEO, author, 18-year podcaster, and Podcast Hall of Fame inductee. So it found a bio on me. And let's see if it's going to find for images. Yep, it found images of me, and including the other Todd Cochran out in Kansas State. He must hate me because I rule the internet search. And then the videos didn't do so good on videos. Let's talk about news. Oh, somebody named Todd turned themselves into prison. That's interesting. What about maps? What happens when I do a map? Oh, it found new media productions. That's cool. So, anyway, some code and other stuff. So, anyway, definitely check out U.com. Very, very interesting to say the least. Merriam-Webster buys Wordle-style hit game Quordle. Quordle. So, these are word games. I've never played Wordle. I've never played Quordle, but it seems these are popular enough that people are buying them. I guess this happened yesterday. Saturn and Venus had a conjunction, and they'll be so close together that planets will be able to be seen with a telescope, a.k.a. in the same view. So this happened yesterday. They made a close approach to each other in the night sky, separated by no more than the width of a finger. At the same time, the two planets will share the same right ascension, the celestial equivalent of latitude in the sky, in an arrangement that astronomers call a conjunction. At the time of close approach, Venus, the second closest planet of the sun, and Saturn, the solar system's second largest planet, will be in the constellation of Capricorn. So, anyway, happened yesterday, so we missed it. This is an interesting statement made by J.P. Morgan CEO. J.P. Morgan CEO says remote work isn't good for young people and managers, but can be perfectly reasonable for coders and women with caregiver concerns. Okay. And it goes into some detail here of why young people and managers should be in the office. And talks about how there's moms are out there and how many off hours they have to accumulate every year because of child issues. All valid stuff, but it's just a little weird the way they titled this article. My company is 99%, 98% remote at this time. All my team is. An Amazon union organizer in Alabama said he was fired without cause. So he posted on Twitter, "This is BS. Didn't give me no reason why." Wow. That's interesting English. So anyway, that was a failed union vote over there twice. So he's been fired. Supreme Court puts off a showdown over internet moderation bans in Texas and Florida. And these are the laws that were put in place to basically say you can't, social media sites, you can't ban people because of their opinion. So apparently the Supreme Court has asked the U.S. Solicitor General to submit briefs instead of lawsuits in Texas and Florida, making court likely take one or both the cases with a delay. The court solicited briefs and a Monday morning list of orders inviting the President's Department of Justice to formulate an official position on internet speech. The order covers lawsuits by trade organizations. Anyway, goes into the details of the two lawsuits. So we'll see what happens here with this. Facebook's Messenger encrypted chat gets themes, emoji reactions, and more. Meta's bringing Messenger's core customization features to end-to-end encryption and chats on the platform. That means encrypted chats can now incorporate themes, custom emoji reactions, group profile photos, and a whole lot more. Messenger's E2EE chats hide your online conversations from third parties, including Facebook itself. Also, it makes it more difficult for law enforcement hackers to access messages you're sending and receiving. WhatsApp already has E2EE by default. Instagram lets people switch to E2EE for individual conversations. So I guess you can customize encrypted chats now. Amazon to significantly expand the use of Stripe. Stripe is the credit card processing company that they bought. Under a new agreement, Stripe will become a strategic payments partner for Amazon in the United States, Europe, and Canada, processing a significant portion of Amazon's total payment volume. Stripe said in a Monday news release, Stripe will be used across Amazon's business units, including Prime, Audible, Kindle, Amazon Pay, Buy with Prime, and more. The partnership will also Stripe expand its use of Amazon Web Services for compute infrastructure to help it serve its business clients, according to the release. "We couldn't run without AWS, and we wouldn't want to," said Stripe Chief CTO Dave Singleton. So they want to get some of that processing money back, save some of that cash. Apple has released iOS 16.3 and Mac OS version 13.2 with Apple ID FIDO key support and new wallpaper, major fixes, and more. Following weeks of beta testing, these are now available to the public as stable releases, and he got a full detail of what's new. And what's interesting here is it's not really. I'll wait till the end. I'll talk to you about what I got going on with one of my older Apple laptops. This one is bizarre. Let me read this to you. U.S. authorities release asylum seekers after leaking their data online. Also, a U.S. terrorist no-fly list found left on an unsecured server. So, nearly 3,000 immigrants seeking asylum in the United States have been released from custody after immigration and customs enforcement officials inadvertently published their personal information online. Records, including names, birth, nationalities, detention locations of 6,252 immigrants were posted to an area of ICE website normally used to report detention stats. Further complicating the issue is the nature of the list. The people on it all said came to the U.S. fleeing torture and persecution, therefore sought asylums. Now, ICE said it took action to remedy the situation as soon as it was informed and that the posting was unintentional. Now, the LA Times reports ICE has promised not to deport anyone affected by the breach until they have an opportunity to raise the issue in immigration court. Immigration officials said they would also allow some immigrants affected by the incident to seek asylum even if they wouldn't have been eligible otherwise, and won't block efforts to reopen cases of immigrants whose data was disclosed earlier. So far, 2,900 immigrants, including the leak, have been released from custody. An additional 2,200 are having their cases reviewed to see if they're eligible to leave detention. ICE said more than 100, now listen to this. ICE said more than 100 immigrants whose data was disclosed had already been deported by the time the incident was discovered. A second small group of fewer than 10 were deported after the leak was discovered, but before the immigrants were notified. ICE said it's working to reach affected deportees to offer a return trip to the United States and a chance to reapply for asylum. Huh? I don't understand. Yep, there was a security leak, but they did deport some people, but now they said they're willing to fly them back. I don't get it. I don't understand. Also, a U.S. terrorist no-fly list with 1.5 million entries from 2019 was found on Commute Air's unsecured server facing the public internet. So, crazy. Another Russian dark web drug market has gone offline. This time it's not a government seizure. It's another Russian dark web drug market making the grab. So apparently, there's a drug market out there that's online. And competing entities have stolen one of the sites. Okay, well, great. I still don't understand the ICE thing. It's being announced Microsoft to stop selling Windows 10 downloads as part of the planned 2020 shutdown. Sales will be cut off on January 31st. So if you've been holding off to get Windows 10 or Windows 10 Pro, you got to get her done. You got 8 days. 8 days, and then bye-bye. Let's see here. What else have I got? There was something. What was I going to talk to you guys about? It must not. Oh, I know what it was. So, for some time, I've been using one of my old MacBook Pros over here on the side. It replaced the Dell machine I was having major thermal issues with. It is cropped up with the notorious period issue for the keyboard. I'm typing along, and every third letter I type, I get a period. It's a perfectly good older laptop. I guess I'll be plugging a keyboard into it, but it's driving me crazy. It really, really is. It's not convenient to put another keyboard over in this location either. So it's just, it's that old clickety-clack keyboard, and I feel bad for people that have had this issue. I really, really do. It's quite the pain. All right, so again, no show on Thursday. I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida, and be at the PodFest event, speaking a total of 3 times. We're doing the new media show. I'm speaking on Value for Value and Podcasting 2.0. My Value for Value presentation is part of a keynote. I get about 20 minutes, 10 to 15 to 20 minutes as part of the PodFest keynote to be able to present. So it's going to be bang, bang, bang through it. And then I get a whole hour in another presentation. So to talk about podcasting too. So I go down there, hobnob, pass out business cards. We don't have a booth at this event, so I'm going down to a network and that kind of stuff. But going to be back with you a week from today, back here in the studio, as long as there's no big snowstorm or something. I do get to see my grandkids on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. And then fly back from Tampa instead of Orlando back on Sunday, and then back here in the studio, back to work on Monday. Of course, I'm working the rest of the week, but you know what I mean. All right, that's been my pleasure to bring you a show. As always, the best way to stay abreast of what's going on here is to email me. If you want, drop me a line, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on Twitter. It's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast tonight. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll see you next time on the Geek News Central podcast. We'll leave you at this point. Everyone, see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.